Good morning and welcome back to another Lodge Lake carp campaign video. We're due a blustery and rainy day today down here on Low Mill Lodge, and I've just had a really good look around the fishery to see whether I can find any activity, whether I can see any bubbles, whether I can see any carp moving about, and I can't. The water level is ultra low today, like it is at a lot of places, and we need a lot more good rain to bring those levels back up. I'm expecting a tough day, to be quite honest, so I'm going to change the way that I fish these Lodge Lake campaigns for now, just to keep myself entertained more than anything. I'm going to have one rod out dedicated for the carp on a beefed up method feeder, and on the other rod I'm just going to fish a normal method feeder on the tip rod on top of the tackle and bait mate, like I've been doing, just to keep myself entertained and to keep the fish coming in and to make it a more interesting video. Look, I could sit here all day without a bite having two dedicated rods out for the carp and I might blank. It's just a wasted video really. I think what I'm going to do is fish my normal peg because I think it's as good as anywhere. I've had a look down the top end where I fancied fishing last time, but I think it's just too shallow up there. So I think fishing a rod over there to the canopy of trees where I've had carp before is my best shot. And then I'll have a method feeder out midway and cast consistently to that spot. And who knows, we could even get a chunky carp on the smaller method feeder setup. Always a chance. Right, I'm going to nip to the car, get the rest of my stuff, get the pentalite shelter set up, because like I said, we're expecting really heavy rain, and then I'll take you briefly through the setup for today's session, the method feeders that I'm using, the baits that I'm using and stuff like that. Right, let's get into it. This wind is really starting to pick up now, so I'm really sorry if it's noisy on the GoPro. Pretty much got myself set up and ready to fish. I've just been talking to the owner for about half an hour. Top guy, and it's one of the reasons that I love coming down here fishing at Low Mill Lodge. I'll put the address in the description for you. Don't just turn up. I'll also put his mobile number on there because you need to ring up or text in and book onto the lake first. One of the other reasons that I love fishing here is the carp in this lake are really dark, natural looking commons and mirrors, and the really special fish. That's obviously one of the reasons that we're down here trying to target them on the Lodge Lake campaign. So in terms of hook baits, I'm going to be going with two different hook baits on the beefed up method feeder. I'm going to be using my new pink licorice in 10x14 mil, and I'm also going to be using my new corn on the cob wafters, which are sweet corn wafters, so just like the smaller sweet corn hook baits that I do, but I've also put some match the hatch brown wafters in there as well in the same flavour, so hence corn and cob. I don't know, bit silly maybe, but I like the name. So I'm going to be fishing my normal method feeder setup. On this one I'm going to be sticking to pink wafters, and I've got this set up with one of my battle bolt beads, 9 pound hook length to a size 12 hook, and a pink wafter. I'm not sure if you can see, that's quite bright on the GoPro there because I've turned the brightness up so you can see what I'm doing because it's dead gloomy today. So that's the setup. Simple, normal method feeder. I'm going to have this rod set up on the tackle and bait mate right at my side here so I can sit back out the way of the rain under the pentalite shelter. And I know everybody's going to ask, so I'm going to go through it. I'm using a Guru Engage Pro feeder rod in 10 foot, and I paired that with one of my own brand reels, an Olympian Tackle Uries 4000 bait runner reel, which I like using while I'm filming. And on the other rod I've got a Sonic Extractor Plus in 6 foot, so a proper little shotgun style rod, and we're going to be fishing this on a beefed up method feeder. I've got a Specimen Guru reel there in green, so it matches the Sonic Extractor colours because I'm a bit of a tackle tart like that. And these are distance method feeders that I've actually cut down. So there we go. So I've cut the stem down, but these are a 60 gram and you need that extra weight to set the hook, these bigger hooks. And again, I'm using an Olympian Tackle battle bolt bead there which has a metal clip insert and a size 6 or a size 8 Olympian tackle battle feeder hook there with the bigger wafter. Obviously I'm using a bigger hook to counterbalance the wafter, along with a bait screw. You wouldn't be able to use wafters this big on the method feeder unless you used a bait screw or a carp hook, but I don't want to use carp hooks today. I want a really fine hook, something that's not going to damage the mouths of the fish, obviously all barbless. Right, that's pretty much it other than the pellets. So I'm using my pineapple contrast pellets today. I've mixed a full bag up because I'm going to be here for a lengthy amount of time for once. I think I'm going to stay all the way until maybe like 6-7 o'clock tonight, so I'm excited for a proper session on the bank. Okay folks, let's not waste any more time. Let's get the rods out. It's about 11:15 now. Let's try and get some fish caught, shall we? First rod, I want as far under that oak tree as I can possibly cast it without going into it. This little rod's going to be perfect for whizzing out this feeder, hopefully. Like I said, the method feeder rod's just going to be a bonus rod today, but who's betting that we get a chunky carp on it? Let's see if I'm that lucky. So let's squeeze these pellets on here. And I'm also going to be trialing some of my ultra thick method feeder topping today. It's definitely the thickest liquid on the market. It's about as thick as a liquid you can get without it being a solid. There we go. So it's ultra thick, it's like gloopy, and that stays on for the cast. I need to absolutely send this, folks. I'm going to go for that overhang down there without getting into that tree that's next to me. Folks, that is a cracking cast. I'm sorry, but I've said it before, I'll say it again, my casting this year has been on point with a little shotgun rod like this. Right, let's drop this. And obviously my method feeder rod, I'm just going to fish out to the middle over here, out the way of this other rod. Bait runner's on. Can fish it with a fairly slack line because we should get a good bolt effect from the bead. There are a lot of chunky bream in here, so I'm hoping that we don't get pestered by those today, but we'll see. Let's get the method feeder out. And this is going to keep us entertained while we're waiting for the carp rod to go off. And I'm hoping that the pentalite shelter stays above me today because I've only brought 3 pegs. You can see how adjustable this tackle and bait mate is. Method topping on. It's just for a bit of flavour. And I'm going to go about halfway out. Got a far bank marker there, so I can go in a similar sort of place every time, and we'll start building up a bit of a swim there. And we're after anything on this rod, folks. So before I reel this one in, I'll probably clip it up and then we can get back to that spot again if we don't get a fish on it, obviously. But I think it's time for a coffee. Best bleep, probably bream, but it might not be. I'm going to have to take the pencil light down, folks. It's doing my head in. That's better. It was blowing around and it was stressing me out. I only really put it up for a bit of privacy more than anything, but there's nobody else on today and I can't see anybody else turning up, so we'll be all right. Everything that I've got with me today is waterproof. So if we get a shower, I'll just pack everything away into the tackle and bait, mate. I think I'm going to put some pellets down this margin here as well, just in case the carp are moving about close in. I'll probably drop the method feeder down there in an hour or so, just to give it a go, see if anything's moved in close. But if I've ever caught carp here, they've either been sort of like in the middle or to the far bank in underneath the canopies. No indications on the quiver tip yet. We'll recast that in a second. We're after anything on that rod. Bream, Crucian, think there's some nice Crucians in here. Tench. But they might be slowing down now. Might be a bit early for them to be slowing down, but as long as we're catching on that rod, we're after anything. Of course the rain started. As soon as I take off my coat, put everything in the tackling bait, mate, and recast. Zip that back up. It's not waterproof, folks, but it's near enough because the lid actually comes out further than the sides of the tackling bait, mate. Camera batteries, put them under my chair. If anybody wants to try any of this method topping, this is a trial batch. I've probably made it a little bit too thick this time, but it's absolutely amazing stuff. In licorice flavour, which is obviously aniseed. And because it's a trial batch, I've got it on the website at I think £3.50 for obviously one of these bottles. So it's an absolute bargain. As you can see, the wind's pushing down this side of the fishery, so you'd have thought I'm in a pretty good spot. Maybe they're right into that far corner, but it just seemed too shallow to me to fish over there, so I have thought about it. If I saw any carp crashing, I would definitely move. I'm not scared of moving today. It'd take me 2 minutes because I'm traveling really light, and that's the point of this setup. Good thing about this liquid, if you knock it over, it ain't going anywhere. If I do get a run on the shotgun rod, I'll have to keep it low because I don't want the line getting tangled around the overhanging branches on the tree, because that was a really good cast. It's right under there. Oh, I just want to get some fish on the bank, folks. Not had a good session in ages. It's sunny and raining at the same time. Welcome to the UK. Now, I haven't really set an end goal for this Lodge Lake carp campaign, but I think if we get a fish of around, I don't know, £15 plus from one of these lodge lakes, I think I'd call it a success. A few of these lodges that I'm fishing definitely have fish over £20 in, but catching them would take a lot of time and dedication. Now, I'm sure a lot of people would appreciate that time and dedication, but for a lot of others it'd be really boring to watch on the channel. So I need to know where to draw the line, really. Obviously I could film them over a period of weeks and just post one video when I manage to achieve the goal, but that means that I might not post a video for a month while I'm trying to achieve it. And I know that people like watching these videos on a regular basis, so it's a tough one to know what to do. And obviously I'm doing multiple different types of fishing. I'm river fishing, I'm lure fishing, and I need to try and get out and do some sea fishing, shore fishing as well. So many things I want to do, folks, in so little time. That's life, isn't it? I might try a yellow hook bait next. Let's see what we've got. Sweet and sour corn method bees. We'll give them a go. Look at all this blowing down here, folks, where I put them pellets. Bet the carp down there in the margin. Let's have a go. Let's just gently drop a method feeder down there. And a slight line that. Couple of twitches. Might have just knocked the feeder. I hope it hasn't moved off, but I'm sure if it has, it'll come back. So it's worth just leaving that down the margin for at least half an hour, because there was something big down there actively feeding on all the pellets that I underarmed out, because the amount of bubbles was just ridiculous. I mean, could have been a shoal of bream or something, but I really doubt it. Put money on that being a big carp. I'm going to leave that casting another 30 or 40 minutes, and then I'm going to try and match the hatch wafter. And try something a little bit more subtle. Sometimes in natural venues like this, they're not really interested in fluoro wafters or pop-ups. You need to be a little bit more subtle with your approach. Gutted that whatever was down the margin there has definitely moved off. Be careful what you wish for, folks. Be careful what you wish for. Well, we saved the blank at least, eh? There's bubbles coming up on the other spot now, actually, where we were casting before, out towards the middle. Probably bream. Well, that's fine. See if I can get it on the spot. It's about 2 foot off. Right. Just going to put some more pellets down that margin just in case it was a carp and hold it there. I'm going to swap this fluorescent wafter for a match the hatch. Got to experiment. There's some small patches of bubbles coming up where the method feeder is, but I don't seem to be getting any indications. It's hard to get any distance on it with this little shotgun rod. It's on it over the back. Just hit the pencil light. Here's better. Oh my gosh, that was lucky. Just off the edge of that bush over there. That's one to leave, that, folks, I reckon. Let's give that a good few hours there. Put the bait runner on, but I need it really tight. Don't want it running into those snags if we do get a hook up. I have to get it low and kind of like get it underneath. Right, yellow wafter on this, I reckon. It's blazing hot in between those showers when that sun comes out. Such weird weather. Now, this week has been about 6-7 degrees cooler than the week before, and that sudden drop in temperature can have effect on the fishing until they kind of adapt to it. I'm making excuses, folks, just to all get you no idea really, but these things do have an effect. Confident in my baits. Confident we're in the right spot. Not seeing any more bubbles coming up down there in the margin, so but I am keeping an eye on it. Keeping an eye on everywhere else on the lake as well, for that matter. I'm not packing up, folks. I'm going to move. Let's have a couple of hours somewhere else, because the carp obviously aren't here, are they? Let's see if we can get on them. Really surprised that one never went off. So the biggest carp that the owner knows about coming out this year is £16. And I'm certain that they go bigger in here. I'm certain of it. And I'm kind of determined to catch a bigger one out of here. If they don't go to at least 18, I'll be shocked, because it's such a big lake and I bet it's packed with naturals. Let's have a couple of hours here. Blowing a gale down here. Got a method feeder over to the tree line, and I've got this rod pretty much right into the weed at the back over there, just on the edge of it. So I'll give that half an hour. If I don't have anything there, I'll bring it a little bit further into the bay, because it might be ultra shallow there, I'm not actually sure. That's the good thing about these beefed up method feeders over like a solid bag. It's not a pain in the ass tying up a solid bag every time you want to try a different spot. And I'm not saying you should move it around all the time, but sometimes you just need to find the fish, especially when it's tough. Every now and again I'm just hearing this bloop, and it's acorns falling off the tree into the water. Shits me up every time. What a tough day, folks. Absolutely demoralising, honestly. I've just been talking to one of the bailiffs for about 3/4 of an hour, come round with his dog. What a top bloke, really nice guy. During that time, I've had a couple of pretty savage liners on both rods. So I've got a feeling that the carp are moving about where I am, which is really promising. I've got a pink wafter on the feeder rod, and on the little shotgun rod I've got a 12x14mm Scopex and coconut wafter, my Coca Scope, which is white, so very visible. I've done well on them wafters, so there's no reason I shouldn't get a bite there. I imagine it'll be silty, I imagine it'll be loads of debris down there, snags, branches, so like I said, I'll have to be straight on them, bully the fish away from those snags, but that's where they'll be moving in and out of on tough days like this. Whether they're feeding or not, that's another matter, but definite liners, so it's promising. I'm into something, folks. Could be a bream. It's coming towards me. Hey up. It's a carp. Well, not quite the carp that we were after, folks, but let's have a look at it. I can't believe it, folks. I'm honestly shaking. This fish that I've got down here in my net is special. It is a huge Crucian carp, and I need to get the other camera and show you with me holding it so you get an idea for the scale of it. It's shaped like a discus. This is definitely a PB Crucian for me, so I need to weigh it, but it's every bit of £2. Look at that Crucian carp. That is a monster. I just want to reiterate, this is definitely not an F1, this is a Crucian carp. Look at that Crucian. That is a unit. That is an absolute unit. Can you believe that? On a pink Westies wafter on the method feeder. What a beauty. Absolute bar of gold. Right, I'm going to weigh it quickly and then get it back. Right, I've just weighed it with the net. I'm going to get it back and then I'll weigh the net and I'll tell you just how much this monster of a Crucian weighs. Let me just show you how deep it is as well. Look at that. That is a monster of a Crucian carp. You just never know what you're going to catch out here on the Lodge Lake Carp campaign for absolute lumps, and that is a lump, but it's not the species that I was going for. Wow. You just never know what you're going to catch. PB Crucian. I knew there were some big Crucians in here, but I didn't know they were that big. Disbelief, but so chuffed. That has made this tough day so worth it. I've weighed the net. It wasn't £2. It was just shy of £3. So it was £2, 12 ounce. What a Crucian. Smashed my PB Crucian. I bet my PB Crucian was only probably about £1.50. That was a special fish. When I saw it, I thought, that's not an F1. It looked like an F1, but that was a beautiful bar of gold PB Crucian. Get in. Right, let's get the rod back out. If that Crucian isn't worth a like and a subscribe, I don't know what is. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and if you've got any questions about anything that I've been doing today, you can always drop a comment in the comment section as well. Wow, so chuffed. So chuffed. Really shows you that the carp and bream aren't feeding if the Crucians are getting to the bait. It just shows you though, folks, more often than not, when it comes to fishing, if you persevere, you're rewarded with something. Might not always be what you set out for, but something. This one's speeding around. I don't know what it is, folks, but I think it's another Crucian. Yeah, it is. It's not as big as that last one, that's for sure. Look at the stamp of these Crucian carp. I think that first one was bigger. On this one, I've had to double check myself, but I'm pretty damn sure it's a Crucian. Crucians and F1s can look very similar, especially at these big sizes, but you can see this one's got a really discus shape, a proper humpback. It's got a convex dorsal fin, and it's got a very deep gold colouring. So that one's a Crucian, but what a fish. This one absolutely took off. Slightly smaller than that last one, and the fins are slightly less red, which made me question it, but still a superb specimen of a Crucian. So again, when distinguishing between an F1 and a Crucian carp, you're looking at loads of different things. You're looking at colour, you're looking at the humpback, you're looking at the dorsal fin, but these three things can be very similar, with some dark Crucians and obviously some F1s. One of the main distinguishing features is that humpback. When you start getting that humpback shape and that discus shape, it's almost certainly a Crucian. However, not always. What you need to be looking for is the lateral line of scale starts to fade on a Crucian, which it did on the bigger one. On the smaller one, that lateral line was pretty much complete. So I wasn't 100% sure on that one, but I'm still calling it a Crucian. But the bigger one, 100% a Crucian carp. Usually on F1s, the tail can be quite forked, whereas on a true Crucian, it tends to be a little bit more rounded off. A little bit tricky to differentiate them, especially with F1s varying so much in shape and colour. But you tend to know when you've got a Crucian. Like, it was pretty obvious on the first one, but on the second, I was dubious myself. I'm going to give it another half an hour and then I'm going to call it a day and get packed up. The commons and the mirrors have evaded me today, but that Crucian is probably one of the best fish that I've had all year. Any kind of PB's a good day when it comes to fishing, but yeah, I'm so chuffed, folks, honestly, and I'm glad that I can bring everybody along with me to share in that excitement. You can see how made up I am with that fish. But yeah, well, if I don't have anything else, I just want to say thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next Westies Angling. Like I've said to you before, if you've enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. That's all you need to do to support the channel. It's free to do so. Also, click the bell icon as well. That way you'll get notified every time I post a video. I'll see you next time, folks. I don't know what we'll be doing, but hopefully it'll be a slightly easier day and we'll be able to get a good head of fish on the bank. But you can't argue with that. £2, 12 ounce Crucian carp in the net for the Lord's Lake Carp campaign. See you later, folks. Thanks for watching.